evaluate how your team performs in that setting. We knew going in, it'd be a tough environment to play in, and still a lot of young guys in that situation, especially in lieu of losing Coy and then having to play Matt Bedford. Ended up starting Matt, and he played every snap, which we really weren't going into it 100% sure that he would be able to handle that type of workload in that environment for the first time ever. But he did a great job. Made mistakes for sure, but did a great job. I'm really proud of him and how he responded. Same with Mike Penix. First really true road game for him, and in conference play, absolutely the first one, and just really encouraged by the way he handled the moment. And it wasn't too big for him. He was very poised and very effective in what he was able to do. And for that, he was, as you know, named Big Ten Freshman of the Week for the second time in 3 of his games. But as a collective effort, that was the offensive coaching staff, game plan, that was the execution of it, the receivers, the way they performed, and as well as the way they blocked for each other, the effort up front. I mentioned Stevie Scott. We had a great team meeting this morning. I just got after our guys. Was very hard on them in some areas, and accountability. Like as I told our team today, the film creates accountability because everything that happens on game day shows up on film. Film never lies, and it creates accountability for coaches. It creates accountability for me, foremost and utmost, and for the players, and how they perform. And so sometimes those are hard meetings to have, and you get after them hard, but you also realize you see what we're building, you see the progress, you see what we're becoming, and the work that's in front of us, and the opportunity in front of us. And so, but that collective group offensively just did a great job of helping Michael Penix have the game that he had. I mentioned Stevie Scott. His effort on pass pro was phenomenal. That's a collective buy-in that you see. That's a guy understanding LEO and understanding that it's not about him, and he's not caring who gets the credit. And guys that just care about their stats, and that's a guy that just cares who gets the credit. He's not that way, and ran hard, did some great things. Ronnie Walker is the epitome of that. He's doing his job 100%. And I could go on and on. Even Westbrook, the way he blocked, made some good catches. D. Hale, big catches, but the way he blocked. Peyton Hendershot didn't have a bunch of catches, but man, he blocked his tail off, and he was physical. And so, obviously Wap, played to a certain level, but he was crushed at the end of the game. He had a great game, he had stats and all that stuff, but he was so emotional afterwards because he wants to win. His team wants to win. So, and that's where, you go to the other side of the football and did some good things, but were not good enough. Critical times, situational football, did not come up with the plays we need to come up with, and have to communicate better, have to do a better job defensively. Without question, end of the half, end of the game is not acceptable with how we want to finish and how we will finish those situations. And special teams mistakes, the penalties that cost us. And I said it a week ago that they would cost us in conference play, could cost us a game in conference play, and those were definitely very, very game-changing plays that you put yourself in. So as we elevate our level of play and move into conference opponents, the margin for error becomes smaller and smaller in those areas. And so to me, that's a huge part of us growing as a team and using these next 3 practices here this bye week of focusing on those details and improving ourselves and becoming a better football team. But I also felt like that there's enough there, and there's a look in this team's eye that I know where we're going, and I believe in these guys. And so I'm just really excited to get back to work with them tomorrow. Had a great day-to-day meetings, did not practice. I had a great lift. The guys continue to work extremely hard in the weight room. I have 3 goals for the bye week. Number 1, to create a mental and physical break for our guys from the grind of the season. You go through fall camp, so a full month of that, and you go right into the first 5 games, and just the mental break that you need. So not going to have near as much meeting time, not going to be a lot of skiing, and we are going to work. And when we work, we'll be full bore. Practice will be a little shorter, but just a physical break as well. We got to get some guys rested, and the goal number 2 is to get all the injured guys healthy, so that we maximize our rehab this week and be able to go into Rutgers healthy as much as possible. And that's goal 2. And goal number 3 is to improve fundamentally and technically as a football team in all 3 phases. So that's our goals for these next several days. And we'll be practicing Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then coach will be out recruiting Thursday afternoon and all day Friday. And then I'll be going out myself. So big recruiting weekend for us, and a great opportunity for us to take these first 5 games and be able to move forward and look to a very important 4-game stretch before our next bye week. So I'm excited about what's ahead of us and what our guys are hard to work and how hard we played and how much they're learning to come together. Questions?
Zach.
I know some of this is just kind of natural to the quarterback position, but how encouraged were you, maybe not just by Michael's performance, but by the way it felt like the offense kind of followed him, was sparked by him, that for a redshirt freshman making his first Big Ten start after a 3-week layoff, he still kind of had that impact on his teammates?
There's no question. And, we talked about John Wooden he coined the phrase that, the competitive greatness that you have to play at a high level of any sport. And with that you're at your best when your best is demanded. And the second phase of that is that you make those around you better. And part of that, making them better, is a confidence that you exude to them in the poise that you have, the demeanor that you have, the playmaking ability that you have that creates, that confidence and expectation for that. And I just think some guys have that naturally, and you can't, it's hard to manufacture those kinds of things. And I just think it was. I mean, you go through and you think about the situation that Michael found himself in. As you mentioned, it's his first conference road game, first conference start. He's still young, hasn't played a lot of football, has not practiced a lot the last several weeks, full practice, and so didn't even have a full week of practice. Didn't know those details before that, but did not practice every single day fully. Just trying to get his body ready. And so all those things combined, it's really, impressive for what he was able to do, in that setting. Like I said, there's a lot of variables that went into that, and still things that we have to continue to get better at and focus on. But for sure, an encouragement of what is to come, and what we can be as an offense and as a football team.
Taylor, then Ken.
Coach, against Michigan State, the secondary seemed to be a little bit vulnerable at times. Is that something where you'd like to see an improvement in the pass rush, or is it more just kind of the youth in the secondary?
Well, I think there's, it's never one thing. I thought we got some good pressure. We didn't get any sacks. We had several pressures. You always want more pressure. Pressures, creates, what you want defensively for an offense. And definitely caused some errant throws because of the pressure. The young secondary has to continue to grow. I know that Taiwan played extremely well, but we challenged some other guys even between the end of the game and this moment right now. Met with some guys already about them elevating their play, at that position. We put those guys, we put them on an island at times, and that's part of what we do. And we know that, they know that, and that's what you embrace. And so felt like that lost some of those one-on-ones, and sometimes it was just one-on-one technique and winning those battles. And 25 their guys, number 1 receiver in the Big Ten right now for a reason. Really good football player, a very clutch player, has been that way for them and continues to be. So, he came up with the big catch at the end, that we needed. I thought our guy was in good position. He's got to find a way to get that ball out of there, but that's where you start. And that's why I said it's one play. We're at the point now where, we're in those, we have some communication breakdowns in the secondary that we gotta, and sometimes it's you, sometimes it's reps, sometimes it's just, but time has taught me that you just stay the course, but we had some things where some guys got cut loose, and a lot of that's communication. It's being able to, they do some cluster groupings and different things, and that's everybody does, and that's kind of part of the game right now. And so just different ways of handling that and reacting to that. We just got to get better. There's no doubt. And it's frustrating, to not be able to get some of those at critical times. But at the same time, you have to. It's a team game. We dropped a pick six. It just, it's tough. And you drill and drill and drill. We got the fumble, the key fumble. We had the holding on that same play. That was a game-changing turn of events there. Huge. So I just think that leaving those guys, I just know that that's the one position. You can screw up on the D line and nobody ever knows usually. You make a mistake in the secondary and everybody can figure that one out. So that's part of playing that position and coaching that position. And I think I might have said this, but my dad told me this a long time ago when I first became a young head coach. He said, "You better make sure you have the best defensive back coach you can find and the best offensive line coach you can find. Those are two areas that are the hardest for kids to play, and they'll get you beat if you don't get them right." And I believe it. It's true. That was back years ago, and talking about at the high school level, but it really doesn't change. It's not any different. And so we got great coaches in those spots, and we got really good players. And so excited for them to continue to grow and develop.
Ken and Cam.
Do you have an update on Juan Harris's status? I know he was out, and then just health-wise, how did you come out of this?
We came out of the game healthy, which is good. It's a physical game against those guys. It always is. They play that style, and got some bumps and bruises for sure. But nobody that from the game itself that I believe is going to cause any extended. Even if we were playing this week, everybody would be playing that played in the game. I expect Juan to be back. I do. I think he was, doing a lot of extra work today again. So he's a guy we need in there. He provides a lot for us, and so I expect him to be back. And I think Reese Taylor, we really missed him. I thought we really needed him in this game, and it's unfortunate, but he should be back for Rutgers. So that it goes as planned, and so feel pretty good about the guys that didn't play. They should have a chance to come back this week, and that's our second goal on the list. There is to get our guys healthy. So I know that even Matt Bjornson was able to do some things in the game, but was limited. And so we're trying to continue to get him healthy, and so we can go into this next stretch as healthy as possible.
Cam and Matt.
Tom, it seems that this year in the kick return game, you guys are taking a couple more shots than compared to last year. How much of that is a product of what David Ellis can bring you guys, and also when you're a team that maybe needs some of those X-factor type plays to change momentum, how do you go about generating that beyond just breaking a tackle or making another block?
You're right, and I think you're accurate in your assessment. We have definitely. I like the guys back there. I think David Ellis is a special player, and I want to give him. He can be a game changer. Those returns are big, and we had discussions even during the game about our approach going in was to, hey, we're going to bring these out because we felt like that he was worth the risk. You can fair catch it, get it at 25, and I'm tempted to do that a lot because it's 25 free yards with no threat of a penalty, and the penalty's really it. That's kind of the what gets you. That really pins you down. And that's how we opened the second half. Now we ended up overcoming that and getting a field goal out of it, but that was tough. So I think that he's worth the risk, and so we think that's. But one of the goals for this week is to continue to improve both our score team, which is punt returns, and our house call, which is kickoff returns, our blocking. And that's it. Those are tough blocks, and the way the rules are now, they're all just one-on-one blocks. They've taken out the double teams. It's one-on-one, me versus you in space, blocking you. That's why there's so many holding calls and blocks in the back at the NFL level, at our level, because there's so much movement. It's hard to do that. So, but we're going to really, our entire work this week on special teams is all going to be technique work and drills the whole week. And so that's one of our objectives. And so those are game-changing plays we have to create. We did a great job with the one with WAP, and then it got called back. That was as we know, it was a 67-yard exchange, huge turn of events. And then he caught the one too deep. This is his first year catching punts. Really didn't do much in high school either, but he's got to learn. That's let that one hit, and it could bounce back. But I'll take our chances on that one. And he'll learn from that. He's a smart football player. But you get in there in that setting, the ball is just kind of lost where he was and made a mistake. So, but I just think we got some gifted returners on our team, and I want to give them a chance to go create game-changing plays.
Matt and Ken.
There was a point in the game, I don't remember exactly when it was, but it looks like you kind of went after Coach Womack a little bit on the sidelines, kind of what was going on there, and do you see kind of your role at all in the defense changing with trying to make some improvements off of it?
Oh, I mean, I'm always involved with defense. So, I mean, if you saw that interaction, you just know who I am. I'm a pretty fiery guy, you know. So, and I love Kane, and we're really close. And so, I'm gonna rip his tail, and his tail needs to be ripped, you know. And but the bottom line is, it's right for half. You know, there was that whole thing there. I mean, we needed to get a stop, you know. And hey, I'm okay with that, you know. And like I said, I'm not gonna ever sit here and apologize for being fiery and intense, and because there's no sense of apologizing. It's going to happen again. Okay. So, but at the same time, that's my area, you know, and that's where I do feel for Kane, because you don't really want to be the DC for the former DC, right? When he's the head coach now, and it's a tough job. I mean, just tell what it is. I mean, because every little thing, and I'm hard on him in meetings, and I'm hard on him during the game, but it's like brothers, man. Sometimes you just, but then you just hug each other, and it's your family, right? And so that's how I feel about Kane. But you know, if something's not the way I want it to be done, or the outcome, I'm never going to second guess. I'm telling you, I don't like second guessing calls, because I don't think that's fair. Okay, but when we don't execute, you know, that's what I want to make sure, and we're making sure we put our guys in the best position. You know, so that's, to me, it's just football. You know, it's the passion of the moment, it's the fire of the moment, and I can remember what I said. You know, so, but. Bottom line is yeah, I'm not going to change. You know, I'm going to get probably a little more emotional than some people may think I should as a head coach, and I got to make sure I'm always level-headed and making good decisions. But I just got to trust the good Lord to give me the wisdom to know, you know, when it's time. You know, and I'm just going to react in some ways and just be that way, and that's just how I am. And so, but no, and it could be somebody else too. But there's no doubt, you know, he's got a tough job, and he knows it, and that's what he signed up for. So. We're very close.
Ken and Zach.
I know you guys are on bye, but you're looking forward. Rutgers makes a change in head coach, releases their offensive coordinator. How does that complicate things as you prepare for Rutgers in a couple of weeks? Usually have a couple of weeks to prepare for a team, and now you have that level of change.
Yeah, it definitely creates some unknowns, you know, and you know, been coached against teams that have had this happen in the past, and I don't know if I've seen it where the coordinator has been replaced. In these situations, usually it's just the head coach. But so I guess the one positive thing is we don't play them this week, so we'll have a week to see what they decide to do in that regard, and who's going to be calling the plays. But yeah, I mean, it's just you know, something we'll just have to react to. You know, but it will definitely create some unknowns, definitely create some change, and yeah, I mean, it's next conference opponent, so they will get our full attention, and we'll be absolutely ready. But we'll have to do some extra work to figure out what they may do now, even though you have, you know, several games to look at. You're gonna have to look at it with a different lens now, with a new interim head coach and a new person calling the plays.
Zach.
Kind of a two-parter. One is sort of an injury. I think Ashawn's another guy that's kind of been in and out these first weeks. Kind of where's he at? I don't think he played.
He did
over
not.
the weekend. And then as you think about the bye week as it pertains to health or preparing for other teams, I don't know if it's a little cliche, but how helpful, can you almost break this season up into like 3 mini seasons in a way, because of where the byes fall? You play 5, then 4, then 3.
We totally did, and you know, like I said, I've been asked about it a couple of times, and I have no control over when the byes are placed and when they come. So when I saw the schedule, I liked what I saw. I felt like it broke down from a numerical standpoint in a good way, and sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I haven't had 2 before since I've been here, so you know, having the 5 that we've already played, and then having the 4, and then another bye, and then the 3, I mean, it gives you a chance to definitely be able to segment your season. You always kind of, you know, put it in thirds, I think, in a lot of ways, at least I have in the past, and how you say, okay, we want to be able to accomplish this, this, and this along the way. So, but from a physical break and a mental break, that's where the byes really become huge, you know, and so, you know, once again, you don't control it, so you don't get too bent out of shape if it's not the way you want, but when it does go your way, and what you feel is positive, then you take advantage of it, you know. So for me, it's really about maximizing this time, you know, to be able to get our team refreshed, and to be able to have a great plan for the big game that follows the bye week, and make sure you're sharp, and make sure you're playing your very, very best football which is what you have to do in conference play now. So, yeah, I've been, definitely segmented it, and talked about it with our team. After we talked about it with our team going into the Michigan State week, and what was ahead and how I broke it down, and just trying to help our guys. I always try to do a good job of making sure they know the vision for what we're trying to accomplish next. So we just got to take full advantage of it as a staff, and recruiting is a big part of it. We've got to, it gives you an extra whole week of days. You're usually going to get 2 days. You get 42 days of evaluation during the season to use, and so we're going to be able to maximize all those best ability.
And then, sorry, Sean, just.
Yeah, Sean, he's still out. Don't think he'll be back this week. So we'll see what the future holds for him. And he's definitely battled some injuries this year. It's been hard for him, and he's given so much to our program. So, but just wanting to get healthy so he can get back and help us.
Fish, then Ken. Fish first.
Oh, so, I don't know what your thought on this is, but, and I've seen this for years in Indiana, and I've been around here a long time, and we're not finishing games now any better than we have been for the last 20 years. It's just been that kind of situation. Any ideas on what you can do or how you can get this team to understand how important it is to finish? Because you get the lead, you've got guys celebrating, and it's almost like they already think the game's won, and then we let this team go down and score a touchdown. You know what I'm talking about?
Sure.
You understand what I'm saying?
I think, matter of fact, even during the game, when we took the lead early in the fourth quarter, got on the headset, guys seemed excited, which you want energy, there's no question about it. But I said to our guys specifically, I said, fellas, we have a young football team. Teach them how to handle where we are. We have to finish. And so obviously we're at that moment addressing it head on. I saw the same thing you saw, being able to handle some level of success, even though you hadn't finished yet, and we did not finish. And so, great teaching time for your guys. I mean, to me, and I know I haven't been here all those years in the past, and I know you've seen a lot of football here, a lot more than I have. But I see it as two things. Number one is youth, this group, all right? And number two, I feel like you have to learn how. You do. You have to learn how to finish, learn how to win those kind of games. And to me, now that we're at full bore in conference play, they're going to all be, since I've been here, there've been a lot of to the bitter end battles, and there's not a lot of margin for error. And that was what we talked about today in our team meeting was, so how do you finish the close games? And to me, it's so wrapped up in trusting in the discipline of the preparation to be able to execute in those moments. Because once again, it came down to, which is, there's no rocket science to this, it comes down to a few key plays at the end of a game. I've heard, coaches talk about this forever, it doesn't matter the level. NFL is no different. There's some of their games are one possession games every single week. And that's how it is in this conference for the most part. And so it's being able to, in the last 4 to 5 minutes of a game, can you execute at a high level, all right? And that to me is the key. And that's where I talked about, I said, so today in our team meeting, right, I preached so hard about the value of walkthroughs and how critical they are. And that every one of those reps, you have to believe, if you're sitting here involved in the walkthrough or you're standing back here, and we do walkthroughs, we have them literally put all their toes on the same yard line so that they're all locked in, very disciplined, eyes on the key. Now, what's going on in their brain, I don't see, nor do I completely control. All right, they control that. But it's how you got to teach them. Though we may be able, because we can't cover everything in a practice rep. So you better make sure that when you are standing, whether you're doing the walkthrough or you're watching the walkthrough and taking a mental rep, that may be that play. That a check you have to make against that formational adjustment on defense or that adjustment we got to make. I sat there and listened to, in our offensive staff meetings or our offensive position meetings after, watching the film this morning, just the details of every little thing that make the difference on whether it's, how you set up a block that gets that extra yard that you need to create. If you think about the exchange at the end of the game, or the end of the half, all right? If we did some little details right on offense, the defense never is even on the field the last minute of the game before the half. And they never have a chance to score a touchdown. And we go in 14-all. which that changes everything. And it was a bad snap on the early play that set up, and it forced us to have to punt, okay? And so those little things that you snap the football hundreds and hundreds of times in the course of but it's executing that critical situation. It's making the check that we have to make on that last touchdown before half that we didn't make, and figuring out why we didn't make it and make sure that mistake doesn't happen again. So those little things to me, those happen in the end of the game as well. And so I'm not trying to, that's how you have to do it. Because then once you do it, then the experience of it creates the expectation and the confidence that I can do it again. Okay? But we have to experience it. We have to put ourselves in a position to be able to execute at the high level in those moments. Part of it's talent. That's where recruiting comes in. Part of it's depth. Because when you don't have enough depth, the fatigue sets in and you make a mental mistake because you're mentally tired. Okay? Well, to me, we're addressing those things. But now we got to get it done on the football field. All right? So there's a lot of little things that go into it. But to say how, to me, and sometimes, a really good player makes a really good play. All right? Well, those really good plays need to be made by the Hoosiers, not by the opponent. And that's what it comes down to. And there's a lot of things that lead up to that one play that you have to make, and that's what we're getting to. And to me, it didn't happen on Friday or Saturday night. And that's what has to change. And to me, that's why you just stay the course. And I see, and that's why I was, you're so disappointed and frustrated because you're right on the cusp. I mean, we were there 2 years ago, okay, against that same team, okay, in my first year as head coach. Now the game kind of felt different, but there was, once again, we had a lead in the fourth quarter, and they ended up finishing out and beating us, okay? And so, once again, and I get it, I'm just as frustrated as anybody to not to be able to finish. But discouraged, no, okay? See the things we got to address and keep addressing them. And continue to keep coaching and keep teaching and keep finding ways to help us make those game-changing plays in the fourth quarter to finish the game.
Ken Lessman.
Obviously, you're very clear, it's not okay for a loss in any way, shape, or form. Does it encourage you at the very least that you get to focus on details at this point and making those one more plays, those extra plays, as opposed to maybe thinking that there were much bigger?
Well, there's no question. That's why when you watch the film, you're encouraged and excited about what you're becoming. Okay, not that you like what happened. Okay, it's what you see what you're becoming and what you have a chance with a small thing here and a small thing here that adds up to a big change, which is the difference in the outcome of the game. And that's exactly right. I mean, if you go through, here's the thing, you can go through, I've been in games where the game is still close, but you go back and watch film and say, man, they kind of got after us, but we just found a way to it wasn't like that. This was one of those, it was back and forth the whole game. And with 5 seconds to go in the game, it was 31-31. Okay? You played all that, almost 64 minutes, and it's 31-31. Okay? And so, if you go back and look at the stat, it's kind of that way, And so, that's where it's different. Okay? But at the same time, you have to finish. So that part doesn't change. It's just us doing a great job as coaches and as players of staying the course and finding ways to finish. And that's the plan.
All right, thanks, Tom.
Appreciate it. Have a great day.